Wait, I already used the round and round we go joke last time. Hey everybody, welcome back to more Limbus Company. I'm SlayerMathis, and last time we got most of the way through the Canto 7 dungeon, fighting against the Blood Fiend trio, as well as the Blood Fiendified, Corroded, whatever, Camille, and Paula. And this time, we have the carousel. Ooh, spooky. We'll go something like that. Nicolina, Coriambro, Dulcinea. None have ever loved me as fervently as they have. Gallop on, dear Sancho, and strike our foes. Like the days of yore when we vanquished the giants. Strike our foes with a heart that knows no fear. I see. I thought I'd been galloping onward towards something, but I was only going in circles. I'm but a hollow shell, a mere vestige of a thing, trapped on a carousel to nowhere. A mad woman slumbering in a sweet dream of galloping astride a steed across a vast field, feeling the cool breeze against her face. Don Quixote. You can still hear me, can't you? Don't listen to him. Please, No, she's no more. The person you once knew is dead. Perhaps I wish that Don Quixote would forget I ever existed. Yet I'm returned here, so that I may never forget what I am again, so that I may pronounce the dream ended. So, for the second time in 2 cantos, we have to fight one of our own sinners. But, this one's a little bit different than a distorted Heathcliff. We're fighting a second Kindred Blood Fiend, who's level 85, but absolute asterisk. With the Dreamy Hesitation, she also gains her Hard Blood status as well. Early on, Sancho is not the most difficult opponent, but obviously that will change in due time. In addition, Sancho has the same effect as Ricardo and Virgilius, where he will clash, or she will clash through us. Just as it's a nice show of strength that she's not pushed back at all by our clashes, and again, she clashes through us. As with all of the Blood Fiends up to this point, she is a slow burn boss. Of course, as she builds up more Hard Blood, as she builds up more Blood Feast, she becomes tougher and tougher. And also, she just starts, as a boss fight, she starts using some of her tougher arts later on. And a nice first round, but Sanguine Joy starts to be a little bit on the tougher side. She can gain a lot of SP through that. And of course, gains SP a decent bit as well. What is the exact? Yeah, to gain SP and Clash power up from if we can be free from its excruciating sickness, which is quite the mouthful to say. But already we're starting to get into some less favorable waters. Does not take long, but we'll still go for it. Snag Harpoon, I think, will still be very nice. Yeah. Ow. Damn. That was a solid clash. But ultimately, not enough. Ugh. And she's already at 45 SP, so... Snag Harpoon, I don't think she gets any buff from speed, so the bind won't do too much, but I think it can still help out Ishmael, maybe get a couple of extra points here and there. What is Pursuances? I don't actually have it. We don't have any sinking as well. That's on defeat. I think these are all level 1. Yeah. Okay, so she's back down to the basic skills, but yeah, Topple's a little bit on the scarier side. Retreat order, I think... No, that would send out one of our, that would send out one of the high show. Do that. One of the high show that's not Faust, probably send out Otis. The other high show that isn't Faust. Okay, nice. We do get the stagger, which is nice. I don't know if that means if the retreat will activate. So what happened to them, you ask? Let us watch how this tale plays out. She's really strong. Sancho, I guess. Blood fiends of the Lodge have all been significantly weakened to 200 years of imprisonment of lack of blood. But she is like a second Conjudus foe we can reasonably contend with. Well, when have we ever fought anything we can reasonably contend with, huh? We'll die, revive, try again, and eventually wear her down. DRDR strategy against this one is meaningless. Your regeneration is incomparably faster than when we met aboard the train. Now win this battle by attrition. Gonna keep standing in our way? Yes. I'll stand in your way. So what? What are you even gonna do, huh? Sinclair suddenly took a step towards Sancho. What do you want to do to La Mancha Land? I'll do my father's bidding and transform it into an image of his design. Kill you. I'll find more humans to kill. Feed their blood to my father like a good blood fiend I am. If you then use Ecstasy of Blood, you can clash with it regardless of speed. One of those nice ones. So we're going to just use some of our lower ones as we go in with the Crimson Spring. Oh, damn. I always love when we have units that are, like, when there's units that are fast enough to go up against, like, because when it's like, oh, we need someone to, without a doubt, do their attack, they'll start to 10 speed. So it's always fun when you can have someone actually reach above that 10 speed threshold. Sancho's now on phase 2, where she starts using the Don Quixote Hard Blood arts. Something that I'm not the biggest fan of some of the moves, just the move names on any of the La Mancha units, because either you have the Don Quixote arts, which obviously, kind of, those are already a little bit on the suspicious side, and then you have specifically Manager is the Sancho arts, which is like, okay, come on. What is Suddenly One Day's passive? That's not the worst. Not the worst. We can deal with that. Otis will end up retreating. I think it's Otis. Oof. Yeah. Whew. Yeah, that was... I think we won that because of Snag Harpoon. We got a little bit... Well, not necessarily unlucky, but... We've had better clashes, but we've also had worse clashes, to be fair. So... The Sancho fight is pretty tough. Ow. I don't know if Otis is going to be able to retreat from this right now. Also, I think I just saw 4 protection on Sancho, which isn't great. Okay, that was defense level down. Never mind. And yes, that was Otis retreating, so now Merceau is in. Oof. I want to try to avoid Hong Lu taking damage. Ishmael will have retreat. What's the move that... Okay. So there. Yeah, so she should... Well, okay. If she manages to evade that, she'll evade both. Which, perfectly fine by us. We'll go there. Go there. We just have to make sure not to attack that last one. Go there, and... See, the thing is that suddenly one day is always very reliable. Do I... It was that one, okay. Let's make sure I have that correct, yeah. Chains of Others is very good in boss fights. It does debuff Merceau, but the amount that it debuffs the bosses by is much more significant. And once again, we plan a retreat on a turn that Sancho is staggered. The door is shut. Something just occurred to me. That heavy, adamantine door stood between Sancho and I, tightly shut. Whatever I said wouldn't reach her, and she had no wish to open the door. We stood there in a stalemate. The sinners would conceal their troubles, shy away from attempts to understand them, but in the end, they all wanted something. There was a certain faith that I, as their manager, would be able to do something for them. Or at least, that they would find their wishes granted at the end of each of their flow. Yes, they all had dreams. He no longer wanted to be an outcast. She wanted to be special. He wanted to confront his past. He wanted to change. She wanted to sail onward, unanchored. He wanted to mend the two hearts broken apart. And every time I reached out, I cried out loud each of their dreams to them, and with some luck, managed to turn them away from the brink. But Don Quixote, whose dream is already ended, only now do I realize that I have nothing to give her, nothing to tell her. My role stopped at breaking through each sinner's barriers to retrieve their lost dreams, squeezing them past the doors to their heart that remained open still, no matter how narrow the gaps were. I'd never given them something new to dream about. Don Quixote. I'll tell you again, that's not who I am. That fool used to twinkle her eyes at you, shoving some ridiculous idea of a dream before he was dead. Has Don Quixote's dream ended? As the dream of the other Don Quixote who lies there with his body impaled by so many stakes ended. What if the dream still continues? Sinclair? My dream. It ripened and ripened till the rot set in. Thus it fell to the earth and burst. It's broken. All that remains is the decaying carcass of the dream. Sancho's lifeless eyes gaze into the distant hollow, seeing nothing in the futility that extends far beyond the horizon. But Sinclair redirects her gaze toward himself. La Manche manifested of our humans, yeah, but it eventually disappears again. Look, on one hand, it's trying to hurt us humans, but on the other hand, it keeps trying to hide away too. Even as he lies there, his body torn apart by thousands of stakes, he's been trying. Perhaps your father, even he, maybe he... This is what I think we must do. We have to go back to the birthplace of that dream. The tightly shut door suddenly shook, and in front of it stood Sinclair. A familiar red sign, though incomplete, briefly flickered from his forehead, and a blinding white light surrounded him. Sinclair was the Knight of the White Moon. Barry. I haven't uttered that name in such a long time. A human at my mansion! Apologies, your worship. We should never have let her through, but she wears all kinds of fantastical weapons. She's about to be granted audience with your father. A blood-feed hunter, are you? I'd managed to break through my children's vigilance. I read your skill, human. It cannot have been easy. So what is that you seek from this audience? Is it your wish to be obliterated without a trace, or is it join my family? Neither. I'm here to challenge you to a duel. A duel? I'm not like other blood feeds. I have no interest in killing humans for sport. However, I am also not so generous a blood fiend to let a human who dared walk into her own doom simply saunter away without consequences. Humans and blood fiends are at war out there. Did you know that? Just a fight between the unquenchable blood fiends and humans who learn to transmute their hatred to delight. I cannot with such degeneracy. Why do you refuse to take a side? Should a family of your might take a side when we the decisive into the war? I've already told you. What does a fleeting human life require a simpler explanation? I would prefer not to dirty my clothes in a pit fight. I refuse to bring myself down to that level. Is that so? You may do one of two things. One, convince you, or two, should my first option prove unfeasible, slay you. Because you're more dangerous than both of them when you're sitting here and doing nothing. So duel me. You won't get a chance like this again. Because I know exactly what you seek. Not even I am privy to that knowledge. Yet a human who knows me not who's only met me for the first time today claims to know that. I know you blood fiends. I was blessed with longer lives than humans, yet cursed to live in greater miseries for every second of that longer life. I'd exchange the carpets of this hole. I don't know what you dirty with the lowly human blood. And even my children outside this mansion will deal with you. Should you employ your children to kill me, you'll never learn the source of your suffering. I mean, unchanging, stagnant, steeped in your misery. Until one day, the memory moment returns to his regret. Father, if you would allow me, I will quietly take care of this interloper. Grab your weapon, answer my duel, and I promise you upon my honor as a fixer that I will grant you what you truly seek. I can give you. No human, let alone a blood fiend, has ever matched me evenly in strength. I suppose you have the honor of being the first human to do so. How intriguing. The duel continued for 3 days. 3 days without a victor. Why not take a brief respite? It's been 3 days. 3 days? Yes, there's been 3 sunrises and sunsets. I'm quite certain that makes it 3 days. Do we get to decide a victor? Too bad. It sounds like these ones have taken enough for us to recover. And you'll again at a later date. I'll return. You would stop the battle before it ends. While your enemy can rest, you even promised to reconvene at a later date. Who decided that these all rules would become laws? Fixers. It's law of the fixers. Our father allowed that human to leave. Not even sick us children on her, and that was that. Will you truly let her leave just like that? A human who so instantly warned you of all blood fiends that she would return. Then is the law, she says. Here she is again, Sancho! Go tell her that your father is indisposed today and has no time to spare for a duel. Go tell her yourself. I'm growing tired of this. What joy does that woman get out of this altercation? You could have at least had her the courtesy to arrive at our gate with hands full of refreshments. How should I know? And I am certain of us that this intruder will never leave us alone until we open our gates. Why did I ever agree to something so vexatious? It's about time we put an end to this, father. I have no joy in telling you this, but it does not befit your reputation to be locked into with me a human for so long. The other children are saying things. You'll understand the pain of dealing with children when you make kindreds of your own. How many times have I told you I refuse to do such a thing? How harsh you are. Worry not, I intend to put an end to this today. I've been planning to do so for a while. Saying you do not require my assistance? It should be enough to tip the scales in your favor. It is alright. It's a duel, is it not? A duel must be fair and just. And now what she said last time verbatim. Something about the laws of fixers. So what exactly are fixers? I don't know. That absurd duel continued with no end in sight. I found myself measuring the time like some referee. It's time. Yeah, that was close. Thought we finally have a victor in this duel. I'd like to ask you something. Yeah? What, pray, is a fixer? What is this fixer that has made you so pertinacious and stubborn? You mentioned the laws on the first box as well. Is the honor of fixers so significant that you would waste your life on it? I can tell you if you want. And they both simultaneously lowered their weapons. You're looking forward to her arrival now, aren't you? You're waiting for her. The fault lies with the human! The fault lies with you, Ishmael! How dare she cut off her sword short right at the climax? Now she's here, Let her in, will you? So what happened to this fool whose rope snapped at that exact moment? No, I must know what happened to the siblings first. The fool running into a rotten strand of rope fell through the earth and the siblings lived happily ever after. What an exciting tale that was. My hands are going stung from the sheer suspense. Sancho, why did you sidle up so close to a conversation? Barry, do you recall the place you told me upon of our last meeting? This amusement park. Will you speak of me again? Father, this is the 7th time. You have no books and heroic tales ever mentioned such a thing as an amusement park. Well then, describe me the sight. Children enter there, holding tightly into the parents' hands. What are their expressions? Practically radiant with the happiest, brightest smiles in the world. All wear pretty headbands or elaborate masks, and play such catchy, exciting music all year round. People dance to the music too. And guests are free to do whatever they want. Enter a game of marksmanship at the shooting range. Explore a spooky, haunted mansion. Can't say I get the point of all this. What if this ride? It's called a carousel. The visitors on each ride upon a steed that goes in circles. They ride on a horse that only goes in circles, utterly devoid of meaning. And this here is called an observation wheel. Humans use it to view the sights from a higher elevation. Not only did it crush a giant, its size thousandfold of human, but also dare to enter its body. What a splendid method by which my own may overcome their fears. You're seriously misunderstanding what this is. I conceived an idea most ingenious! And this is where you stop listening to him. Is that what she says? Should I? The pair of you are becoming alike in the worst possible ways. I wish to build one myself. An amusement park where humans and blood fiends may happily coexist. I shall call it La Mancha Land. Step by step. 1, 2, 3. I found myself slowly becoming engrossed in her tales. That's how his dream became mine. But it wasn't long before it was broken and cast aside, like my father. Yet there is this an understanding beyond sight. Why? Why does La Mancha Land exist in perpetuity, but seek to vanish only within hours of its manifestation? It can only be our father's final, lingering conveyance of his will. Father gave me Roshante so I may embark on an adventure of my own. But none of my tales were real. They were all fake. Once I drank from the river of oblivion, once I imprisoned myself in a cell of my own making, I spent day after day immersed in these books of fixers. And that has tainted my story with vacuous lies and hyperbole. What was it that you have always said to me? There was about time I woke up from my delusions. Yes, I suppose now is the time I came to my senses. We were close, but not quite there. Which one is this? This is Art 2, Hard Blood. Stronger move than the last time, which we're almost certainly going to need a... Yeah, we're gonna need ourselves a Ego 4. We do get off a nice free skill 3 because of a high show swapping in. I really need to get more thread right now, but oh well. I love this Kanto so much, and a lot of it is because of Don's story, or Sancho's story, I suppose. And the fact that, like, she's a very, like, saying relatable doesn't sound exactly correct, but it also doesn't sound wrong either. Sancho's a character that she has been living in this dream, and, you know, that's something that she's really not been able to contend with, the fact that she basically, you know, she has been living in a lie her entire life, and, you know, there comes a point when it's, is she, even as Sancho, even as Don Quixote, even with the memories, is she Sancho or is she Don Quixote? And so, you know, that dream became mine, that saying that she has right there. You know, something that is just straight up like, we don't know. Has the dream become hers? Is this what Sancho wants? Is this really what Dawn wants, to be fighting against her friends, the people that, you know, she at least called as friends? Is this what she wants, or is this just, again, her living the dream of her father, living out someone else's will, someone living their will vicariously through her? And, you know, I haven't, like, explicitly ever been told that, but it's a feeling that a lot of people get, because, you know, parents do want to see some of themselves in their kids. They want to see, you know, some of their kids, you know, grow up to be like them. They want to see them be, you know, presumably good people is what you assume someone would be. So you always want to pin your dreams on, like, okay, this is something that I couldn't do. Can my child do this? We'll have more conversation on this in the next part. Why do you persist? You've all told me time and time again to come to my senses, have you not? Then why this hypocrisy? Why continue this hopeless, senseless fight? Wake up, I'm not the person you once knew. I felt as though my clock hands had grown rusted. I couldn't speak. I couldn't say anything. What should I do? We followed her here to continue her dream, but I don't have anything to offer her. No dreams of my own, no memories of my own. I didn't have anything to share with her. Then... It was about troublemaker, yes? But I was like your idea of justice, honor, and loyalty. Besides, you're good on me. Now, after all that grandstanding, you're just up and leave us while giving us that glum sour-faced look. We'll just quietly sit in our asses and accept that? What nonsense are you? No more. I do not wish to leave behind any dearest fellow of mine again. You know what a present must be without you, Kiba? Come on. The sinners each start chiming in, even though they had already seen her true nature. Don't you have so many more tales of adventure to share with us? Come on. Tell us more. So many of them got cut short during the bus ride, remember? They continued the tale without hesitation. Now a trace of fear in their voices. Quite the thrills! Now this is true adventure! There's no cause for hesitation. A true hero succumbs to no hardships. Some in this instance, it must be greatly to say that one must suffer everlasting sense of despair and captivity for the many. The foes of evil must be uprooted with haste in order to raise the banner of justice high. Negotiate with a villain such as he? How? Hence, onward we travail. Listen to your powerful cries, Don Quixote. It made me feel like we had the wind in our backs. Well, you took the wind right off me, but I enjoyed a good few of them. There's plenty of situations like charging without looking both ways, but it's better than being wishy-washy about it and constantly flip-flopping your stances. I liked your acts. Yeah. You were always the first one to take action, cutting through the shit. You never let ambiguity stop you. So this time, shouldn't we be the ones to take the initiative? Sure the Don Quixote's adventures don't come to an end. Then her tale continues. The question is how? What, gonna beat the sense back into her like when? No. I don't want Don Quixote to come to her senses. Executive Manager, we have no way of knowing how many people she has killed in the past merely by existing. Will you embrace her still? I will. I'll determine the time to bring her back to her senses. No matter what lurks in the past of us sinners. Even if they've killed hundreds, thousands, no, tens of thousands of innocent people. Will you still embrace them? He looked at Otis. She wasn't just talking about Don Quixote. She was... well, as long as you have the will to change, to move forward, I'll be there for them. Remember what you said in here today. And again, that's kind of... They kind of just, they hit the nail on the head there, that I don't think this is what Don wants. I don't think this is what Sancho wants. She doesn't want to be this person, not truly. And, even if that dream was a lie in the past, it's not anymore. Right now, she has the ability to move on, to be stronger, to be able to be that new person, to live out a dream of her own. And it's not something that, she would have gotten to do if she had remained as Sancho as she was. Not something that she would have been able to really, hold tight. It's not something that she would have been able to truly do if not for her adventures with Limbus Company now. So, we don't know, does Sancho want this? Is this, has the dream died for Don Quixote? And we don't know for sure. Even as she's fighting her friends right now, obviously we don't know exactly, but dreamy hesitation. It's not necessarily, it's not a guarantee. She's not fully sold on the idea of, this is what I am, this is what I must do, there's no other way around this. There's that hesitation to her. Also, I could have sworn she had some, unbreakables, but I guess not.
again, I love this kanto so much. I don't think that it's necessarily the most relatable kanto to me. That's something that Limbus does super well. They make everything really relatable. Like, these are, as fantastical as it is, as much as we are, going through the story of Don Quixote fighting vampires, ultimately, it's not really about Don Quixote. It's not really about the story of Don Quixote. It's not really about, all of this. Ultimately, the purpose of the story is to show off that determination, that desire that, even if we had, even if you have this dream, even if you've lived through this, that there's something more to there, that you're not necessarily, ultimately, the big thing with it is you are not held down by the circumstances of your birth. The Mewtwo quote. Fucking crazy that that's actually a thing, that there's a fucking Mewtwo quote that is, like, genuinely good in terms of, like, dealing with personal shit, but the circumstances of your birth don't determine who you are. Yes, Don Quixote, Sancho, is a blood fiend. And yes, people like Otis, it's not wrong for Otis to have this thought. It's not wrong for Otis to think, Did he naturally survive on one, or does he does have a one-time perk? Okay. It's not necessarily the, and obviously you have people like Otis who, they are skeptical of Don as a blood fiend. But at the same time, like, there's still more to Don than just being the blood fiend. Is this an end turn? It is not. This one does not end turn. Ooh, you're paralyzed. 3 paralysis, too. Ugh. Yuck. We'll sacrifice Ryoshu. Fuck it. But yeah, ultimately, like, it's not the circumstances of your birth. It's nothing that you can, like, ultimately, you are who you make yourself to be. And, obviously, Dawn has had her whole deal with that. And, it's a different circumstance than anyone else really would have, but also, the adventure has ended. It's a lot different from anything that we've had, because, like, we don't have the ability to, completely erase our memories to come back at a later date and be suppressed by your Jordans. So, again, oh, that's right. You do have something. Oh, yeah, it's, -4 attack power is going to be real nice. And really? Okay. If those both go after Ryoshu, I'll just let that hit. Yeah, the storytelling in Project Moon, obviously, you do have the, the literary inspirations, and, they, I'm sure, do have some of the actual, storytelling of the, the actual, like, the narrative purpose behind them as some of the originals, but they also spin them in their own way that is so unique, and it's lovely. And it's very lucky that Honglu just kind of survived on one. Well, okay, he definitely survived it because of passive, but still could use that, in one turn. And very flashy way to finish the fight off. I think that finishes it off. Yeah. Shut up, Queen of Hatred.
The adventure has ended, and thus so did my dream. It's not over yet.
We're pretty major characters in your adventures too, you know? You can't just end the story without even asking its cast.
So stupid.
Her words of denial are tinged with something new. Something we hadn't heard in what felt like forever. Anticipation. A door opens ajar. A narrow opening, but still an opportunity that Sinclair and the Sinners gave me. I reach out and seize the opportunity through that opening. Just as I always done. Just as I'd rewound the clock over and over again to not lose them. Stage, narration. On the Manchaland, with every move tied to its stage directions. I know what to do. The flow I must find. The flow I must hitch myself to. However, Don Quixote, who despaired that this moment was to be the end of her tale, still refused to give up. Stop it. I've come back to my senses, woke up from my delusions. You have once called me Don Quixote, but I'm Sancho now. Don Quixote has never been on an adventure all lonesome, however. How would she give up when she knew that they were all counting on her? Yeah, would have thought that she'd forget something so important. She had a whopping 12 companions in her story. Well, not every fight ended with a triumph and victory. But every time they were teetering on the brink of defeat, you'd always shout, "We shan't ever give up," or something like that, right? With every despair, with every moment of rejection from her fellows, the void of despondency was made whole by Don Quixote's tales of wonder, so that their sights were not to be led astray from their dreamward journeys. The tales were so extraordinarily ingenious, and so brilliant that it gave many the very resolve needed to rise to their feet at the darkest hours. Well, we beat the shot out of countless insane bastards, or villains. Want some poor blokes who turn into bugs, braved all kinds of monsters too. Got swallowed by a giant whale too. Art. Yes, the adventures bore the train walls make for quite the tale. Ah, and there were bad, no good people who were trying to take our treasures away from us too. Shared a lot of close calls. Our destination was free of such risks. But hey, in the end, they got their names positively plastered all over the newspaper. Got their names out there like superstars. And perhaps, she had more than 12 companions who cheered her on. To the most magnificent fixer of the sink, thine account was a tale most moving, a tale that could move mountains. I shall remember thy tale between every breath of mine existence, and I aspire to be a righteous fixer of justice, just as thyself. Yes. Someone always received replies to my letters, and even write a proper address on them. Thus cometh the reply! Let's see. Dear Don Quixote, who dreameth of becoming a great fixer, persevere and enlighten thyself until thou understandest the virtues, then thou shalt become a fixer most brave, most magnificent. Thus thou shalt never give up, for thy dream shall one day be realized even in the waking world. Manager Esquire, just okay your dream, Esquire, for really I do! It was you, Barry. Those fixers wrote me all those replies. It was you. It was you who delivered all those books to my room. Remember? We promised to meet again once each of our adventures are complete. Tell one another all about our adventures. Mention my duel, and I promise you upon my honor as a fixer that I'll grant what you truly seek. I'll give you tomorrow. You speak in riddles, human. Should I consider that a yes? Of course not. Tomorrow's a promise that does not hinge on your blessing. No, that's not the tomorrow I'm talking about. I'm talking about the tomorrow you seek. You've been living out your days, mired in meaninglessness, quietly wasting away inside. Drinking human blood, compelled not by your own will, but by your sickness. Your countless years of existence. You've never had any reason to exist, have you? But your illness, this applies to all of your kind, is loneliness. It's the kind of suffering you can't weather through by huddling together with your family in the dark. So I offer you this, anticipation for what tomorrow holds. In other words, a dream. I can make you dream. Shout your name out loud, and if you accept my proposition, let's give her all. May the best warrior claim victory in this singular bout. My name is Don Quixote! My name is Barry. You must come with me, for this journey demands your company. In return, when the time is right, and promised timepiece you once heard shall come to be by your side, even when you feel like giving up is on yourself. So I promise you this, and one day you'll turn to the beginning of all things, and tell them all about the adventures you've had. You are Don Quixote. Can we promise timepiece then? You must be the promised timepiece. I'm here to make good on that promise. Don Quixote, that promise to continue your adventure. Has the adventure ended? No. I don't think it's ended. Is that true? And the adventure goes on? It goes on. Even now, at this very moment. Sancho, why do you return without slaying them? Your father, you were always a rebellious child, unlike my other children. Even before you became my kindred, you never once begged me for life, even as life began to fade from your eyes. Even after I embraced you as my child, you never once showed me attachment to that life. Because there was nothing to love in that life. Then, love this place, won't you? I've gone through hell and back, tried all manners of things to break this madman's delusions, to bring me home where I belong. Thus, to me, this woe I suffer is my love. The stake that impales me on my succor, and the blood of humans they feed me, is my glory. If you're mad, then that very same madness must have taken hold of me. Your ideas and beliefs were indistinguishable from utter insanity at first. Slowly took root in the barren and cracked earth that was my heart and began to grow. The times you spent, the nonsense you've babbled at me as we invented together only nurtured that hopeless garden. Yet my dream was an abject failure, Sancho. You must have seen it yourself on this journey of yours. Was the world you experienced ever truly right as I had said, as we had dreamed together? Was it as Bar had said? Were figures honorable heroes, bastions of justice, willing to sacrifice their lives for the weak and the downtrodden? Was it true that good eventually triumphs over evil? No. That is why it all tells about fabrications. I fell off my seat, Sancho, and the shock roused me to the cold, waking world. And I am too hurt, too broken, to dream again. Thus, my dream has met its end. Again, I'm kind of surprised that a lot of people don't really note this as, like, one of the top cantos, because it's fucking amazing. We get the ego gift to make sure that your Don is capable, as well as the dream begins anew. All your skills gain +2 power, everyone else gains +15 SP, and you will gain extra attack power up. That said, for next time... Oh shit, I don't have it correct. Do I? Unless we actually can't. Hold up. I think I have my proper Don Quixote set up. Manager Don. Because I want to do Manager Don solo. But I may have... Okay. That is a shame. I wanted to do Manager Don solo. Ah, well. I guess we just go with Lantern. Regardless, that'll be for next time. But until then, see you guys later.